This is what it is, okay? I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
This is the Bruce Lee interview from Pierre Berton's show in 71. And some conspiracy theorists will tell you this is why he had to be neutralized.
Like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot.
He says earlier in this interview that his major was philosophy.
Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
So that was the famous last words.
And Pierre's guest is the man who taught karate, judo, and Chinese boxing to James Garner, Steve McQueen, Lee Marvin, and James Coburn.
I mean, it might sound too philosophical, but it's unacting acting or acting unacting. If
You've lost me.
I have, right?
He teaches a little exercise in the interview.
It's a kind of a slow form of exercise, which is called Tai Chi Chuan. I'm speaking Mandarin just now.
Yeah.
Cantonese Tai Chi Kun, okay?
I see.
And it's more of an exercise for the elderly.
And then he went to tell on a couple actor secrets.
Peace-loving man,
I met him.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've met him. I mean, he's really, really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
super mellow. Man, listen,
And he gives some philosophical advice.
when you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you are determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that.
Then he was poisoned and died while filming his next movie. When I was a kid, kids looked like that. Black kids looked like that, and white kids looked like that. And everybody contained their soul inside. But nowadays, we got overpopulation, and we've got people born with no soul. They've run out of souls. They're stuck on this container that they're stuck in. They think they're the container. These people can't play poker because all their thoughts are already tattooed on them. It's a tell. It's a tell that I need to be noticed. I don't feel like I'm noticed. We're not the container, we're the water that fills it. So they wiped old Bruce out because he was giving away the secret of Moses. She called his name Moses, said, because out of the water I drew him. And so out of the water is the minimum. When you're out of water, it's the minimum. There's only one I here. They shouldn't give this to. It should just read E-M-M-I-M. The minimum. Mesh it to. Mesh it who. The minimal mesh it to. And that comes from Old English, mesh, the mesh, meaning to make or become entangled or entwined or locked together or be engaged, as in gears. Mesh the gears together. And you can see that mesh here looks a lot more like Moses. It's just a M, a S-H, and an E to mesh. And so she called his name is what to phrase him, F-R-A-S-E-M. What to phrase him to mesh. What phrase meshes with that person. And then what to more. What to more. Keep count. And I believe I got these marks figured out too. I believe the first time you pass through, you read with the lower mark. And the second time you read any of those marks that's on top here to double those letters up. And so what to phrase them to mesh. What to more keep account. Minimum. M-N-E-M-M-I-M. The minimum mesh it to. And so what to mark make the minimum mesh it to is these writings here is what you're looking at. The minimum. The ancient Egyptian writings used to look like this, and it took forever to get an idea across. And so he was shamed for the minimum too. And he minimalized the alphabet, made it a whole lot easier to write. I drew him, because out of the water I drew him. So The waters means motion everywhere. But by itself, this word is hemis, E-M-M-I-S. Hemis, like a hemisphere. From the Greek hemi, meaning half. So there's, 4 elements. So that makes me think that means the word for waters is waters and earth. It's this half, the hemis. And so when you read it through the second time, you obey some of these marks on the top and some on the bottom, the directional marks. It's the L11, E11, LVN, 11. That 11, what to face, F-A-S-E. And this little mark here, I believe it means to kick this letter out when you pass through the second time. And so, loving what face move 'em, she what to mark 'em in, mime 'em is mash it too. So people didn't know, but Moses is actually female, and it's she. The only other place they use this word is for sheep, but it's loving what face move, M-U, and then the line gives it another U, so it's a VM, move 'em, and that's coming from the land of Mu, where the first alphabet come from, and they had to move after a meteor hit their island. And so what face move 'em, she what to mark 'em in, she's drawn the faces of the skies, and mime 'em is whichever one they're acting like. The mime 'em is mash it too, the mismatch it too. They had a bunch of mismatches as the times changed. The way the astrology was set up, it connected the hippopotamus and the leopard and the crocodile together. They were mismatching, and he's the one that come up with the names for the mismatches. The 2 different hemispheres. He was half Jew and half Egyptian. The mismatch. The mismatch it too. And so I run into this during that last movie. Got a couple good movies up there, really good. The last 2 I put up, I didn't take a lot of time on covers because I thought the movies were excellent. How Toth was outsmarted by the dude in the herb porn. And while I was doing these, I ran into something. And so I'm going to start a new folder with these, and I'm going to read all the titles of all the mismatched titles that he came up with. And they're all hilarious. But this word for the water coming up like this after a word with the tack, it first comes up in Genesis 1-2, all in place. The hemis, H-M-M-I-S or E-M-M-I-S, in place the hemis. And there's a whole bunch of words. The M is the main one, just a single letter M. M-I, they'll say, means the waters. And everything with an M-I included in it, which could be Jimmy's, could be days, waters, or the right hand. And it's used all throughout Genesis a good bit. And it isn't till you get down to 22 when it follows a word with a tack. And so it'll read backwards and forwards the second time around. And so when it comes up in this fashion, it's all mime 'em is. All mime 'em is. To mime something is to be the water inside of it, to be everything except the voice, to act just like. By handy, all mime 'em is. To act like, to fill the jar, to be the waters inside, to fill the space that you're in. So it was this movie about Sally Selim that had me look closer into this word Proverbs. And while looking into them, it caused me to look into this word king. And so the first time it comes up in Genesis 14:1, comes up 4 times. And then it comes up again in 14:2, 4 more times. And so the interpretation they give it, and it came to pass in the days of Amphrael, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elisar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of the Goyim. That they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and Bersha, king of Gomorrah, and Shinar, king of Adam, the king of the earth, and Shember, king of Zebolim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. And so the first time the word king comes up is in 14:1, but the first time this word war, which I tell you is from alchemy, well, this would be the first time it comes up. So you have kings born in one line, and the next line it becomes a war. But this word, from alchemy, is where your word a bomb comes from. The bomb will come. The bomb will come. Let that battle get on too rough and the bomb will come. This H pronounces a CH. You can hear it, BAMMILCHM, come. The bomb will come. And so this word comes from some will come it too. Some will come it too. And it means the some will come it too. I loaned you $6 and you only gave me $3 back. And the 6 minus 3, well, you still owe me $3 is the sum will come it too. And you're saying you're not going to pay me my $3? Oh, we fixing to fight because the sum will come it too. The sum will come it too, and sometimes you're positive and sometimes you're negative. So this King Bear, this is the only time you'll see it come up. It's the one time. There's no other words. It won't be talked about again. And so it appears he's talking about the cat here. And when you read it over the first time, it's of some will come of it, of Huram licks. Does what? Brush of her. The lick is what brush of her. And some milk, amora, love. This is love in every language in the Mediterranean. Gomorrah isn't spelled with a G, it's amora, it's love. And the cat, loves the milk. The milk's in. The milk, amora's in of. The milk in love's in of. And then it turns around and reads backwards. And it's in answer, ANSCR, in answerum of claim as her butt of. And answer is geese. And they got this picture all over Egypt. It was this cat herding these geese around. And I was reading about that in the New Testament in some of them other movies. But this image is found all over ancient Egypt. And so where that comes from, the geese in the New Testament, in the Greek, is the gaggle. A gaggle is a group of geese, but it's also a group of violinists. And it's because, when the violins are tuning, that's what they sound like, is geese. And as some will come to, the cats have come to some. Of some will come to. Barum licks does what? The brush of her. And milk amora. Milk amora's in of. And milk is in love. Milk loves in of. And then in answer, in answerum of claim as but to. Bat is the base word for daughters, and she's claiming the geese as her daughters. In answerum claim as her butt of. Made suckle more in tasm. In helm use. In tasm is like phantasm. The AE turns to the ES. TESMH. Tasm. Phantasm is, it's like it has 'em. And a phantasm is the fantasy it has 'em. And so this is just the it has 'em part. Made suckle 'em more in it has 'em. And the helm is the word they'll give for dreams. The dream as, the dream us. And then you come back and follow all these reading directions here. So it flips around and it's as of Samuel. And then the diamond has you move the E over. So this is Heme. As of Samuel Helma. Helma is bleed. Samuel bleed. That's where that war is coming from. This word can mean war in many different ways. And it reads all different directions. And it doesn't never mean war. It means all kind of things that have to do with war. And as of Samuel Helma. And two are over a broom. Two are over a broom. And so this is reading, backwards. First was Mark, O-R-V-R-O, R over and of. And then a broom, B-R-O. And the line up here, this line is telling you to come back after you went backwards and forwards. And this line tells you come get this B-R-O again. And this line tells you add another O, B-R-O-O-M. The broom licks does what? 5,000 years ago, people were running the cat out with a broom. The broom licks does what? Azure bear some claim. The broom licks is what Azure bears some claim. She's been run out the kitchen with the broom. She's going to bear some claim. And then Lycom, L-K-O-M. Lycom reason on Sivav. Lycom reason on Sivav. I told you get out my kitchen, cat. You've been chased out with a broom. As of Summel bleed to our broom. Maybe it's a witch talking and the broom is his brother. To our inner of. Claim licks does what? As her bears claim. Like reason on Siva. And so you could see all the words about milk in here. It's MLK. And it's also the lactose. The milk hooves is the lactose and the suckle. And that was the genius of mesh. To mesh it to. The Moses mesh it to. He meshed all this together like this. The cat was in the oldest Trinity symbol. I always have a hard time finding it. But when you find this oldest symbol like this, it had a cat's head in the middle of it. And people think that this stands for Potter and Felix, but it's Felix the cat and Puss the cat. And so a lot of people still do put the cat in the Trinity symbol. And he's probably trying to get at them fish. But ancient people, they weren't no more stranger than we are. These Cajuns down here, they still worship the old fish man, I believe. Most everybody in Louisiana is Catholic. And the old Greeks, they had pan. And pan meant bread all around, the same as amor. In all the Mediterranean languages, Latin base everything there. And you can tell it's one of the Adam words, She said, more. But pan meant bread in all the languages around the Med. And it was the Egyptian letter T, the loaf of bread, your money, the mark. And so all them artifacts that they're finding that they try to back this up with, all the names of those places, they'll never be spelled the same, and they're never spelled the same in here either. Most every word in the Bible is only used one time, one out of one, and there'll be 200 more words for vision. And sometimes it's because the poet made it up, and sometimes it's because they don't want to connect it with the same word. Use many other places, they give a different meaning. But the whole book is about, he's ragging on every religion, making fun of everything. And nobody wasted their time just to do that. There had to be some good information in the book, coded in the book, in order to sell the books. And so One time he's making fun of a past or current event, and at the same time he's writing another story to go with all the marks or just to add to that story. And it seemed like the thing to do back then. If somebody wrote a book you didn't like, you would parody it in another book. And so what a lot of people think is a copy of different language is actually a parody of that book. And it was common. Many people did that. And if your book was better, you could sell your book and replace theirs, change everybody's way of thought. And they try to make this look all confusing up here, but it's just a W-I-V-A, and it means wife. Wife, and then E is the flight, F-L-I-T-E, T-H or T-E. And wife the flight, and Cain one who escaped. No, your wife escaped. Wife the flight. And so a couple movies go on that, Oh Sally, Sell Me. You see it's a little different here. And so now it's from Sally, and the mark is on top of the L now. And I believe that means to get rid of the L on the first past. So it's the shame. The Sally shame me. Shame means to name, to shame. And then the mark down here says, read again, me. And Sally shame me. Sally name me. And then come back and read it, the MS, and then move the I over. The diamond says move the I over. And from silly. And Sally name me from silly. Sell me. So I'll be putting some shorter ones together, and I'm just going to go through and pick out the names at the top of chapters, the funny names they got. I'll put them in this folder called Titles.
Don't forget, hooty hoot, I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.